It is difficult to imagine that just a few million years ago the ancestors of modern pigs, hippos and, surprisingly, whales were the dominant predators. It's no wonder that many scientists informally call them terrible pigs or hell's hogs. In this issue we will talk about unusual and very dangerous prehistoric animals, Entelodonts. From our videos you can learn a lot of interesting things about the origin of different animal species. And by subscribing to the Age of Dinosaurs channel, our viewers will be the first to know about the release of the next episode. You can also help promote the channel with likes and comments. Entelodonts or Entelodons are large artiodactyl animals that appeared in the second half of the Eocene Era. The first of them lived in China and Mongolia. At that time, they were not yet one of the most dangerous predators on the planet. Although it is now believed that, like their descendants, Entelodonts were omnivores. This is evidenced by the presence of all types of teeth. Their large and powerful jaws were equipped with fangs, incisors, and molars. Regardless of the time of existence and size, all Entelodons had a large barrel-shaped body on thin and long legs. The largest of them were larger than lions and tigers. In terms of size, they can be compared with modern bulls. Moreover, they had an elongated mouth up to 1 meter long. These unusual creatures lived in wooded areas and could easily hunt large herbivores. But if necessary, these ancestors of modern pigs easily switched to carrion or plant foods. It is believed that Entelodons competed for a place at the top of the food pyramid with other super predators of the time, hyenodons. Scientists don't know much about the first hell boars. The earliest known representative of the Entelodontid family is considered to be Eoentelodon. It was no larger in size than modern pigs. Eoentelodon lived on the territory of modern China in the middle of the Eocene. At the same time, another Entelodon lived in Mongolia, claiming to be the first representative of the family Proentelodon. North America also had its own hell hogs. One species of Brachyhippos crossed the Bering Strait at the end of the Eocene Era. It settled throughout the northwest of the continent. Representatives of another species remained in Southeast Asia. Also, their remains are found throughout China, Mongolia, and Kazakhstan. Gradually, Entelodonts began to increase in size. Archaeopteryx, who lived in North America approximately 35 to 41 million years ago, was up to 2 meters long and no more than 120 centimeters tall. The largest representatives of this genus weighed up to 370 kilograms. Unlike other Entelodonts, these animals lived in the steppes and plains. They most likely lived in small herds or family groups. The animal that gave its name to the entire family lived in vast areas throughout the Eurasian continent between 20 and 36 million years ago. The remains of Entelodons are found in southern and western Europe, the Caucasus, Central Asia, China, and Mongolia. Their body length averaged 2.5 meters, and their height could range from 160 to 200 centimeters. Entelodonts weighed, according to various estimates, from 250 to 350 kilograms. There are opinions that they could have been more massive. The hind legs of Entelodonts were shorter than the front ones. The front part of the animal itself was very powerful. A large head with an elongated mouth rested on a short, strong neck. There were small protrusions on the cheekbones, to which the jaw muscles were presumably attached. Similar pronounced protrusions are preserved in warthogs. It is also possible that these protrusions serve to attract the opposite sex or determine the hierarchy of males in the herd. Scientists believe that these creatures lived on the banks of reservoirs. In many ways, their lifestyle was similar to the behavior of modern hippos. They spent the hot time in the water and grazed on the shore. Entelodonts dug up rhizomes and tubers of plants. But, unlike their descendants, they also obtained food through hunting. A large number of bones of other ungulates have been found, on which there are traces of the tusks of hell boars. In terms of aggressiveness, they may have surpassed even hippopotamuses. Traces of their bites were also found on the remains of other Entelodonts. The largest representatives of this family lived in Eurasia at the end of the Oligocene and beginning of the Miocene. Some scientists believe that they all belong to separate genera Perientelodons and Neo-Entelodons. But most researchers agree that it was one and the same animal. In the Oligocene, Perientelodons settled almost throughout Eurasia from China to Georgia. Its length could be up to 3 meters, and its height could be up to 2 meters. The maximum body weight of this monster is estimated at 1 ton. Even if Perientelodon was not an active hunter, it could easily take prey from any predator. No less large was the Diodon, which lived in the territory of the modern USA and Canada from 19 to 29 million years ago. An earlier name for this animal is Dinosaurus. Interestingly, it has more in common with Perientelodon than with Archaeotherium, which lived here before it. Scientists believe that Diodons were descendants of large Entelodonts of the late Oligocene that migrated to America from Asia. There is also a version that Perientelodons and Diodons, and possibly Archaeopteria, had a common ancestor unknown to science. The mass of Diodon could also reach 1,000 kilograms. His body length is estimated at 3.5 meters, and his height is a record 170 centimeters for the entire family. Quite significant changes have occurred with artiodactyl animals from the Entelodontidae family during their existence. It can be assumed that these universal creatures were able to adapt to climate change, occupying a very favorable ecological niche. First of all, their teeth speak about their chances of survival and development for tens of millions of years. The presence of several varieties of teeth allowed them to feed on both plant and animal foods. This significantly expanded their diet. Even the name of this family is translated from Latin as perfect teeth. Entelodont teeth, intended for grinding food, were designed quite primitively. They are very different from the teeth of animals that eat only plant foods or only meat. Also, the results of recent studies suggest that the structure of their digestive system was the same as that of pigs. Their stomachs were not equipped with an additional chamber to digest fiber. This means that plant food for the hellebores was not the main source of energy. The structure of the limbs of Entelodonts suggests that they were good runners. They could run not only fast, but also for quite a long time. While running, these animals relied on 2 fingers. Such hooves are now found, for example, in giraffes. Although the front legs of Entelodonts had 5 fingers, and the hind legs had 4. This structure of the limbs is considered quite primitive. Pigs and hippos have very different legs. In addition, later representatives of this family had good binocular vision. This suggests that hogs were active predators. But, most likely, they did not disdain carrion, as well as plant foods. This diet is largely characteristic of modern descendants of Entelodon. Despite the fact that Entelodonts were similar to modern pigs in many ways, there are a large number of differences between them. In addition to appearance, size, limb structure, and sharper vision, Entelodonts differed from modern non-ruminant ungulates in the structure of their teeth. Their fangs were much larger and had a different shape. The fangs, measuring more than 15 centimeters, were adapted for biting rather than cutting. It is difficult to say why these animals, well adapted to survival, disappeared from the face of the earth. But their existence can serve as the clearest example of the work of evolution. It might seem that Entelodonts were assembled from separate parts of different animals. Their appearance suggests that such a creature will not be able to resist its competitors for long. But hogs not only survived for more than 20 million years. They were able to become one of the most dangerous creatures of their time. We thank the viewers who watched this video to the very end. You can learn more about the origins of other prehistoric and modern animals from previous issues. We also talk about the relationship between human society and the environment,